One of the big hurdles in homeschooling littles is teaching them to read. This felt like an insurmountable task to me when I first started homeschooling, and then when little things would crop up, B and D mix-ups, not being able to recognize letters or sounds. I'm here to share with you 5 things that we did in our homeschool to teach our 4 kiddos to read. I have tried so many resources as a mom of 4, but I'm here to tell you that these 5 have been the best when it comes to being really effective, cost-effective, and fun and engaging for our kids. Now, when we talk about teaching kids to read, usually we're talking about littles, right? And please do not forget the value of play when it comes to teaching your tinies. There's so much research out there that shows that physical movement alongside learning is really effective. I'll link a few of those below, but if you want to just take my word for it, you can. This has worked in the classroom, outside the classroom, and in the online classroom for me. I want to share a few of the things that we've done to bring physical movement into our learning, okay? This includes chalk, stamps, and playing movement, okay? Let's start with chalk. Chalk is fantastic. We're talking sidewalk chalk. We're talking white chalkboard chalk. We have a large black wall that I just literally painted with black paint, 2 coats, and we used chalk to write letters, names, draw shapes. That really helps with those fine motor skills, and it's fun. One way to do this is to write something with chalk and then use a wet pom-pom. You could put that in a clothespin if you wanted to, but I found just the pom-pom being wet is fine. And then the kiddo is going to trace each letter and effectively erase the chalk letter that's on the board. This is fantastic because they're not creating the letter. They're just destroying it, which they love anyway, right? But they're getting that same shape in there. And then sometimes the residue actually stays on the chalkboard wall, which is kind of cool because then we can see the word that they erased and we're able to write. Another favorite is stamps. I'm gonna hold this really carefully, but these are Melissa and Doug rubber stamps, alphabet, upper and lowercase. They've got a few punctuation marks in there, but we just got this for, I believe it's $24.99, something like that. Again, I'll link it below. But these are fantastic. Again, the progression for learning to read usually starts with, saying the ABC song, but then being able to recognize upper and lowercase letters and being able to pair a sound with each of those letters. And so this is just another way to be able to do that. We've had, lots of different ways that we've used this, but one of them is just having a blank piece of paper, computer paper. I'll write the word or show them a picture of something, and if they can make the sounds already, they'll be the one to choose the letters. But we'll say, cat, we're gonna write cat. And so they have to find the letter, right? We're gonna determine if we're going upper or lowercase too, but they'll find the letter in here. That's the recognition piece. And then they're making the sound. Okay, and then they need A, where's A? And then T. And the idea is to get them on the same line. Again, these are these writing mechanics. Maybe you use a ruler to draw a line and have them try to stay on top, have the letter sit on top of that line or go below the line, depending on the letter. But that's something that they're going to need to work on. They're also going to need to make sure, especially for stamps, that the letter is facing the right way. A lot of times they'll put it upside down or sideways, and they'll get frustrated, okay? Frustration is not the enemy here. This is a fantastic tool for teaching patience, and it's really fun when they can actually do it. One more way I've seen this work well is when the older siblings perhaps are creating cards for a friend's birthday or for a holiday. And the littles want to take part, but they don't have that skill yet. They're not able to write those words yet. Stamps are a really great way for them to participate and create something, but also feel like they've got a presentable product to come out of this. So stamps are really fun. I also mentioned other movement games. So we have gone outside, on our driveway, drawn different letters, upper and lowercase, and keep this like a small set, depending on what you're working on, whether it's, a certain A, B, C, D. Let's say we're working on just those first 4 letters. We've got an uppercase A over here, a lowercase a over here, a big B, a small b, and being able to have them jump All right, I want to see 1 foot on big A, right? You can also kind of make this like Twister, right? 1 foot on big A, 1 foot on small a. You can do this with shapes. You can do this with numbers as well. Lots of fun stuff to do with movement outside, but chalk is a really great tool. I just recommend having a big old bucket around whenever possible. Now, when we do have those little hangups, as I mentioned before, sometimes there are these little hangups where we think this is never going to get resolved. My child is never going to get to the point where they understand that this is a B and this is a D, right? That is completely normal, all right? There are cases where if that persists or it looks like something else is happening as well, you may want to get checked, right? Just check in with a professional on this. We do want to make sure that there's not something bigger going on. But for the most part, B-D reversals are very common and very normal. Our kids have all had that, and they have all come out of it. So please don't get hung up on that. Keep working on this. And these games are just one more way to reinforce that. More movement ideas, and including music as well, is bringing in that phonics piece. We really want kids to know the sounds that can come out of these letters. And for the most part, these are the most common sounds, right? We don't need to bring in long vowels just yet. But if we've got a song similar to this one, this comes from My Father's World, which is a preschool curriculum that we use. But apple, butterfly, cow, and dinosaur. You can look this song up. Again, I will leave it linked below. But that is something that we sing every day, and our kids are right on when it comes to knowing what those sounds are. Even sounds like X. Fox, right? X-ray does not count, friends. I hate when I see that on posters, but X-ray, not a good example. Something like fox or box. You can say box or box, right? And that's going to teach that sound. Next thing that we did well was really focusing on CVC words. That's consonant, vowel, consonant. You would know this as something like this. App. Consonant, vowel, consonant, right? And so we really took our time, made sure our kids were excited and focused on what this looked like. And this thing that I'm holding is called a slider. Now, these particular ones I got years ago. You're going to see they are not in the best of shape because they have been well loved and well used by 4 kids. But these are by www.blog.maketaketeach.com. Again, I'll link that below. But here's the idea. You've got these strips. They are all labeled with AP right there. So that's going to match this AP one. There's a whole set, and these were free, by the way. So we're going to go through the sounds. Remember, we know what C says. All right, what's the sound that we've got here? App. So a lot of times we'll start out by clapping. So we'll put our hands up. App. Cap. Okay, app, cap. And they think that's so fun. They want to go really fast, right? So really fun. So we're going through app, cap, and I'll let them move the slider. That's really exciting. Sometimes they don't want to, or they get frustrated by it, but it just moves up. App, map. All right, so they go through. As you can see, there are many. We've got ig and in and about 15 others that we have, but these are fantastic. Just keep them in a bag, pull them out, take them with you on the road when you're waiting somewhere. Really quick and easy to just enjoy going through phonics together. There are lots of ways to extend this. Remember those stamps I showed you before? You can have them make that whole slider of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 words in their little notebook with stamps. Okay. Or when they're ready to start writing, please don't force them to write before they're excited to or able to, but they can write the word in a notebook or on a piece of paper or with chalk using these CVC patterns. So fantastic way to really make sure that they are solid in those phonics skills. Now, in case this feels like it's already too much, it's probably a good time to introduce today's video sponsor. This is SOR with teacher Brittany. SOR, just in case you don't know, is Science of Reading. Science of Reading is the large body of research that supports how learners learn to read. So I'm excited for you to hear from Brittany.
Thanks, Melissa. Hi, homeschool families. My name is Teacher Brittany. I am a certified Science of Reading literacy tutor that conducts one-on-one private reading classes through Zoom. I am also a homeschooling parent of 4 kiddos. I feel really passionate about reading tutoring and helping kiddos on their reading journey. Some data that you might not know that isn't super great is that almost 70% of American fourth grade students are not reading to standard, and by adulthood, the average American adult reads at an 8th grade level. So reading is super important, and it affects all classes. If your student is struggling in reading, they're going to struggle in the other areas as well. And we really don't have time to just wait and see if things get better. I'd love to meet with your learner and see how I can help. Thanks.
Thanks again to SOR with Teacher Brittany for sponsoring today's video, and thank you for supporting our video sponsors. They help keep this channel going. The third thing that we did was using the ASL alphabet to teach letters. Now, ASL, American Sign Language. This is hand signs for the alphabet. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, right? And you can learn this really quickly, really simply, but I just started out when our kids were tiny doing that with my hand. Now, our family is bilingual, so our kids learn the alphabet in English and Spanish. So this was a third way for us to make that connection. If our kids were thinking in English, what is that letter again? What is that letter? And I go like this, F. Efe in Spanish. So it's just one more intermediate step to connecting languages, but also it's just one more way that you can prompt your child and make those cognitive connections a little bit more firm so that they are really connecting the letter that they see on the page and the sound that they need to make. Fantastic resources are all online. Again, I will leave them linked below as well, but there are classes for this, and I would just recommend keeping it simple, to be honest. Learning the alphabet yourself and then practicing it with your kids. Start them young. It's a fun challenge if you want to. Give them the opportunity to spell their name. They might not be able to do that on paper yet, but they can do it with their signs. My name is Melissa, right? They're able to do something and share their name in just one more way. We talked a little bit about movement earlier, and this is just one more way to get kids moving. It also helps with fine motor skills, those skills that they're going to need to write on paper soon. We can also count this as multi-sensory learning because they're thinking about their hand movements, their speech, they're looking at maybe what's on the page, they're trying to make sure that they're keeping eye contact with the person they're showing or talking to. So there's quite a bit going on here. This is a complex skill, but it's one of those that might be a good intermediate step to help kids bridge the gap between the letters and the sounds. The fourth tool we used was other kids. Now, these were our own kids, but in case you've got an only child, remember, you can add in friends from a co-op, friends from the neighborhood, right? Friends that you've met at the library. There are so many different ways to meet people. You can check out this video to learn more about homeschool co-ops, but the idea here is simple, that adding more voices to the fray is actually really good when it comes to teaching your child to read. Peer pressure obviously can be used for bad, but when we've got older kids in the mix, they are naturally bringing in their ability in order to show the littles what's coming next. For example, some ways that we've done this in our family are reading books to the younger siblings. That's a simple one. Maybe before nap time, they get to read a book to their sibling, right? Another way is games. There are two in particular that we love. The first are these storytelling cards. We have these two. There are lots out there, but basically they're just a deck of cards with really interesting photos on them. Each deck has kind of a cast of characters, if you will, but there's no set story. So there are no words on the page. You're really just getting that verbal fluency going and their imaginations. Again, this is a discovery phase type thing, but it does play into storytelling. If you've ever, maybe if you can remember back to Plot Mountain, right? This is like the beginning introduction, the rising action, the climax, the falling action, and the resolution of a story. That's part of reading, right? They're going to be able to identify that way better if they've seen that when they were little in all these stories, and even better if they're able to create it. Another one that our kids love to play together, both older kids and younger kids, is Spot It. There are many different types of Spot It. We have a few that are like sports themed, Frozen themed, animal themed, but we also have the numbers and letters. This is fantastic also if you are a bilingual family or if your children are learning a new language, because no language on there, right? As long as the alphabet is the same alphabet, right? You're able to kind of make that transfer. So for example, we're able to say, es una F amarilla, a yellow F, right? And we're able to do that in French, and we're able to then also bring in that sign language, right? Maybe show the F. And so there are so many different ways that you can use these games, especially with older and younger kids. The more you can have that interaction among ages, the better. It's just gonna be positive peer pressure at work. Last but not least, and I hope this hasn't gone too far because this is my 5th tool, but books. The idea of filling your house with great books is really important. But as we're starting to teach kiddos to read, there are some books that are just super helpful. Now I'm gonna highlight a few here, so my arms are full right now, but here's the first thing that we love, our Bob books. Now, there are a few different levels and collections. We just have the one. We were gifted these. They were from Costco. I think there are like 15 books in here. They're like little tiny books. Now, please don't think of these as leveled readers. That is not what I'm promoting here. These are just very simple books. And I actually didn't use them to target any specific sounds. These were just the next step to help my kids feel like they had a little bit of ownership. They could get through a book, they could get through a sentence, they could get through a page, right? That was that victory feeling. So this is after all the phonics has kind of happened. We've started blends, ST, CH, PH, right? There are lots of different blends, and then you get into vowel pairs and stuff like that. So we're starting to do that when we are beginning these books. And of course, they're gonna run into frustrating words. They're gonna run into moments where they are just really upset. That's fine, that's fine. There are going to be moments where you're gonna need to step in. We always start by alternating pages too. So having these books has been awesome. A couple other honorable mentions here. We love Chicka Chicka Boom Boom, classic. Again, for recognizing those letter sounds, it's also very rhythmic. It's also very silly. You can get a lot of movement in. So kind of checks all the boxes with Chicka Chicka Boom Boom. And then this other one, which was another Costco find, Alpha Tales. This was definitely a preschool and kindergarten type book, but they are 26 stories that are all done by letter, right? So each letter of the alphabet has a story. Obviously that letter is kind of the star of the story, but we would have kids point to examples of the letter, make the sound, and then at the end of each one, there's a cheer. Okay, and so again, to tie in that multi-sensory learning, we would always kind of tap the ground or tap the book. A is for alligator and acorns on trees. A is for achoo, when you sneeze. A is for apples baked in a pie. A is for airplane up in the sky. Hooray for A, big and small, the most awesome, amazing letter of all. And so just a fun way to kind of end whatever we're doing on a high note and with lots of fun and silliness. Now, I have shown you a bunch of books there, but I want you to be sure that you understand that phonics is really the basis of reading. It's just something that has been shown over the years. And these little gimmicky type books with pictures instead of words, we don't want that. I would encourage you to really dig into something called the science of reading, which again is why I'm so grateful for our sponsor of today's video. You can learn more about SOR, Science of Reading with Teacher Brittany, below. But SOR, Science of Reading, is just a big body of research. And if you're not familiar with this, which I wasn't because I wasn't trained as an elementary school teacher, I was upper elementary and high school and middle school foreign language. This was all new to me. So I really had to do my homework on this. And there's a podcast called Sold a Story, which is a fantastic way to really understand kind of the narrative around reading and what could be helpful. So I do want to encourage you to check out that podcast below if you haven't yet listened to it. It's very much worth your time. So putting in the good work with phonics, with blends, with figuring out vowel sounds and fun rhymes, things like two vowels go walking, the first one does the talking, right? This stands for like the word rain, R-A-I-N. Vowel pairs, two vowels go walking together. The first one is going to say its name, A. It's going to make that long A sound. Another one is crazy E. This is bossy E. He's at the end of the word. He doesn't want to play with you. He's not going to make any sound, but he's going to make the other vowel, the other kid, say its name. Think about the word like. L-I-K-E. E doesn't make any sounds there, but E is going to make the other vowel, I, say its name. Like. Okay? So these are just little things that you can kind of repeat, cues to say, hey, there's an E there. What are we going to do? And again, not every case is going to be like this, but for the vast majority, there are. We're going to have to teach them those other cases, but again, take it slow. Give them these skills so that they can succeed as they're reading, and as they read books like these, Bob books or other books, they are going to just identify these patterns and they'll just light up. It's really exciting to see. So there you have it, the 5 best things we did to teach our kids to read. Each of these tools brought something special to our learning journey, and I hope that they will help you as well. Again, as you teach your little ones to read, remember there are other resources out there, professionals who are trained to help support you in this. So please seek out help if you think you need it. And if you found this video helpful, make sure you have given it a like, that you're subscribed, and you have notifications turned on. And if nobody's told you yet today, thank you. Thank you for doing what you're doing. It's really important. Happy teaching, guys.